All right, peace, family. And we are now live. We went live at 9:11. I wonder what that means. Maybe I need to ask Erin what that. We went live exactly at 9:11. You know, numbers are messages and frequencies. But family, peace to the family, everybody who's in the chat. Let me just make sure my mic is on the right setting. Let me change this here. Yeah, peace to everybody in the chat. We are finally live. Thank you for your patience. I see you're filling in the room pretty fast right now. Make sure you hit the like button. Make sure you tell your friends and family that we are live. And before I introduce my guests, as always, let me get to a few commercials, family, and we will be right back. But make sure you're comfortable. We're going to have a good time tonight. Good time tonight. Be right back in 1 minute.
It's the numerational session with King Simon. Text your full name and date of birth to 347-496-1022. That's 347-496-1022. And get my books on Amazon now.
Hey there! Had a bad dream? I have dreams too. Some parts are scary and some parts are fun. Always remind yourself, it's only a dream and everything will be okay. I had a dream about being in a forest too. Check it out, my pet Petey was with me. Order your copy of Kayla Petey and the Forest on Amazon today.
All right, family. Without further ado, I want to welcome back to the show Erin Lyons. Welcome back to the show, Erin.
Hi, I'm so excited to be back. Thank you for having me. I'm excited for tonight's combo.
Yeah, very good conversation we're gonna have tonight. Last time you were on here, Erin, you electrified my audience. I mean, you absolutely electrified the people. The people were blown away, especially when you did the light language at the end. They was like, "Yo, that was it." They was in tears, like literal tears, when you did that at the end. So, yeah, they're happy to see you back on here, definitely. And I seen a video you posted on Instagram that inspired me to call you to have this show, and you was talking about the Galactic Federation of Light. Now that's a term that we hear a lot about when you start to study extraterrestrials and the cosmos and things of that nature. You hear about them having agreements with governments. You hear a lot of things about them, and they had a message that they wanted to deliver through you about the update about the ascension process of the
Yes.
collective humanity. So I think that's an important message, an important conversation that needs to be had tonight. So to start out with, Erin, who exactly is this Galactic Federation of Light, and what is this message that they're bringing through you that you were talking to the people on Instagram about the other day?
So I'm happy you're asking this question because I know at this time there's also a lot of, I would say, confusion or even misinformation on who certain galactic beings are that are assisting humanity, if they can be trusted, if there's like this hidden dark agenda. So this is like very timely. You want to look at the Galactic Federation as being similar to the United Nations when a bunch of different countries come together for the well-being of the entire planet, or that should be the intention, right? But the Galactic Federation is essentially a collective of many different galactic races, ET races, and beings who have decided to serve the higher purpose of the multiverse to maintain harmony, balance, love, and light. There are many different councils, actually. There are actually many different, what we would call federations. But the Galactic Federation of Light that is typically referred to is the one of the main players, or associations and collectives of beings who are assisting humanity with its ascension and awakening process. So there are actually hundreds and thousands of galactic beings out there, and only not all of them are a part of the Galactic Federation. You have some beings who have their own agenda. You have some beings who serve the light, or what we call the universal law of one. And then you have some beings who are neutral. They really are sort of walking the line, so to speak, as it comes to consciousness and reality. And so some beings also, they might be a part of the Federation, but they choose to have nothing to do with Earth. So some of them are just like, we want nothing to do with Earth. That is a dense project, and they focus on other things. So the Federation itself is not only assisting Earth, but assisting many different planets we'll just keep it at planets for now.
Right. Do they have, they say as above, so below. And when you say they serve a, a purpose of harmony and providing harmony and balance in the multiverse. Now, reality is perception and people might have different perspectives on what harmony and balance means. So in the earth realm, we can see that played out with, do through different races beefing with each other. Like a black person's version of harmony may be different from a white person. Is it the same in with the Galactic Federation? Like, is there a Galactic Federation of darkness that opposes them and they have their own view and they be beefing like we be beefing down here? Does it work like that? You know what I'm saying?
So, in the higher dimensional realms, when a being becomes, we'll say, a fully Christed being, a self realized being, they accelerate and shift through frequencies of consciousness that keep them out of the lower level realities where there is this opposing force that you're talking about. So
Mm-hmm.
that's one of the reasons why the Galactic Federation has this push to get humanity to, we'll just say, at least the fifth dimension, because in a fifth dimensional frequency, you are no longer in this dualistic battle with, I'll just call them shadow beings, uh,
Right.
beings have a negative agenda who feed off of negative energy. So
Mm-hmm.
no, in the higher space, it doesn't mean that there are galactic wars, there are different things that happen, but it's typically with races who have not reached a certain level of consciousness.
Mm-hmm. What I one thing you talked about in your Instagram live with the Galactic Federation of Light is the ascension process. And actually during the ascension process, the beginning stages of it being disguised as chaos. Now that may throw off a whole lot of people, Aaron, who think they're on the journey and they got them some books and they start reading and bam, life hit them. Um,
Yeah.
and then they just like, man, fuck this. This ain't worth it. Talk to me about the ascension process and how chaos is a necessary component in it, and that may confuse some people.
Yeah, so ascension is not linear, guys. It's not love light, love light, love light, and then I'm gonna ascend up out of here. Okay, it's gonna be some love and some light. There are gonna be some times where you need to speak your truth, sometimes when you need to set boundaries with people, sometimes where you might even need to go to war, sometimes where you have to really use your voice, and all of this can feel like chaos. But what it really is, what I'm seeing right now is this being shadow integration. So there's a big thing in the spiritual community where people are actually afraid of darkness or afraid of their own shadow. So when things start happening that feels like, oh, this isn't positive, this isn't love, this isn't light, they label that as something that's bad, but it's really a catalyst that's getting you to go deeper. If you're only ever in positive experiences, there are going to be certain components, attributes, and we'll even say characteristics of your own soul's mastery that cannot come online and be activated. They can only be activated through you coming up against a certain challenge that's gonna draw that energy out of you, draw that mastery out of you. True mastery is finding peace in a storm when everything around you is chaotic, but on the inside, you are still experiencing bliss. So when these things start happening, when it feels like your reality is falling apart and you're just like, I don't know what's happening. Maybe you go through a breakup, maybe you lose a job, all
Yeah.
these types of crazy things. Maybe somebody sues you. Like I'm seeing so many things happen with my clients as well right now. You want to look at that and you want to say, okay, my higher self is always still running the show. So it means that my higher self has orchestrated this for a reason and a purpose. I accept this higher mastery. I accept this challenge. When you sort of cower from the challenge or you fall into a negative spiral, you're going to continue to manifest that recurring theme until you master it.
Mhm. Now, if that you mentioned breakups, if that chaos comes disguised as your mate, or you say a friend, should you stay with that mate because it's a necessary component of ascension, or should you still be friends with that person because their chaos is a necessary component of that ascension?
So relationships are very tricky because because of soul contractual agreements that we make. I'll speak on this one thing that the councils are asking me to say in reference to this topic. You have certain phases and periods in relationships. You have periods of uh, having fun, chemistry,
Mhm.
connection, growing. You have periods and phases of being disconnected, being triggered, in these different types of things. So you might find yourself in this ascension process in a phase of time with your partner or a significant other where things aren't necessarily flowing. You want to use the relationship itself as a tool. Now, another aspect of this that your ascension process will trigger is attachment. Where are you
Mm.
attached to something that you have probably vibrationally outgrown? And
Mm.
that's really, really difficult. I actually just had to end a 3.5 year relationship like last week because of this.
Mm.
And the counsels were all very direct with me, and they just said, "Hey, based on some of the things that you need to do right now, this is sort of not in harmonic resonance, and we're going to have to put it on pause." So these are the types of adjustments that you're going to have to make for your own ascension process. Now, the physical ending or pausing of a relationship should never stop love. That's the
Mm.
difference in a
Mhm.
fifth dimensional
Mhm.
reality or thinking. Just because you and this person may or not be together in the human way, it doesn't
Right.
mean that love has to end. So this
Right.
friendship component you're talking about is actually really important for your ascension. This is
Mm.
why we have a lot of folks at the moment who are like exploring polyamory and these different things. That's not for everybody, but what's happening is these things are coming online as a lesson for humanity to recognize that love truly has no boundaries or limitations. And that's good. That lesson itself is going to show up for all of us in very specific ways, unique
Indeed.
ways.
Wow. Wow. Very, very interesting. When you talk about the Galactic Federation of Light, we talked about in our first show we did together about us generally like you channel, so you're like an antenna for higher dimensional energies.
Mhm.
And if that's the case with humanity, do you think beings like the Galactic Federation of Light influences Hollywood writers to write movies like the Garden of Galaxies? So that shit is all about them, and they influence them through ideas to write that so humanity may know the concept of them existed.
Yes. Yes, yes,
Mhm.
yes. And these higher beings are, they're in their multidimensional consciousness, so it's like creativity times infinity. They
Ooh.
really tap into universal creative life force energy that just like source just loves to create and expand, and it is this
Yeah.
genius basically. So what happens is a soul will contractually agree, how they want to support the awakening, the ascension, or whatever they're wanting to experience. So they will be unconsciously connecting with beings, or especially I'm hearing specifically angels are the ones who flow this information for different movies and ideas and things that run mainstream. And
Mhm.
so the person's higher self has already sort of made this agreement, even though they're kind of like in the dark. But they might, a
Mhm.
lot of artists and creatives receive ideas in their dream state, or they get into like this creative flow, and they are channels. They channel in their own way. So, yes,
Mhm.
highly recommend watching Stargate, the Stargate series. I think
Okay.
it's S1. That stuff is like really, really, really accurate. I'll
On
just say
point.
that. Really, really on with how things actually work.
Indeed. What's the deal with us always hearing about the Galactic Federation and their I guess agreements with governments and them meeting with the government? Like when most people think about the government, they think about these evil people that run the world who oppress all the people
Mhm.
around the world. So I guess people would wonder like, why don't the Galactic Federation of Light ever meet with the regular the common folks around the world, the indigenous people, the middle class people, the poor people? Why are there always accounts of the mean with governments, but we never hear accounts of the mean with anybody else?
So they're saying, well, that's what we're doing right now. We're coming straight to the people through different channels and content creators. But they want to explain why. they have first went to the world's different governments.
Mhm.
Our governments are operating in low levels of consciousness. So what happens is, as the masses and society places, the government on this high pedestal, and they just think, they reign supreme, they really
Mhm.
are in a low level of consciousness, and a lot of times get themselves in certain interactions and contracts. Sorry, clearing some energy. Sometimes I burp if like things are coming up. So
Yeah.
that might keep
That's
happening.
that's
But
that's interesting.
sometimes, or oftentimes, they get themselves in these arrangements with certain
Mhm.
beings who have a certain agenda, who are basically saying, hey, we'll give you this technology or this thing or whatever, if you essentially allow us to keep running our dark agenda from behind the scenes. So the Galactic Federation has met with our governments to help make them aware. However, there is free will. Okay, there's free
Mhm.
will. So no one's coming to save you, but more so equipping you with the information, the tools and the things that you need to help free yourself. So our government, uh, different governments, when the Galactic Federation and other councils and beings have come to them in the past, they were actually only ever interested in technology because they're operating in a low level of consciousness. So everybody's job here is to recognize the level of consciousness of the beings who are running the planet and stop seeing them as being superior to you. You are
Mhm.
actually superior as you raise your vibrational frequency and expand your consciousness. That's going to be the
Mhm.
first step towards the masses actually taking power back, and these systems being dismantled, because any system in the physical is just a reflection of the collective spiritual energy.
Mhm.
So you have to stop looking to them. So okay, that's what they want to say on that. I hope that answered your question.
No, definitely did. Quite wonderfully too, man. And do you think the New Age community, Erin, did a bad job of teaching people or delivering the message of what Ascension truly is to the collective consciousness? Because we talked about the whole love and light thing, and people watch lectures or read books, and then when they actually engage in it, it may become like we said, chaos. So do you think they did injustice, or you think they did the best they could do in terms of delivering the message?
I think that everyone is always doing the best they can do given their level of consciousness.
Mhm.
So something we have to understand is that consciousness is continually expanding. And so when you have certain teachers or way showers, they are supporting humanity with, or at the evolutionary level that is currently active. So this is why there are always going to be new teachers and new people that come with new information or share things in a new way,
Mhm.
because it's all happening. That as people are ready for the information, then the information expands. So the information that we're receiving is always outdated, is what they're saying, because there's
Wow.
always going to be more. There's always a higher perspective. Like, there are certain things that higher beings will teach me, and then a year later they reteach me the same thing, but in a different way through, let's say they teach me through the fifth dimensional lens, but then next year they're going to teach me through the sixth dimensional lens, and then it
Mhm.
adds in more information that I was unaware of, but it's all expanding from a foundation. So information continues to build. um so doing the best that they can, nothing intentional. And there's also distortion. There's distortion that gets in the way of pure frequency, high light quotient information coming through.
Mhm. Mhm. Do you think, I remember the first conversation we had, you talked about an acid experience you had, taking acid. Do you think that, like, people will consider what you do like, wow, she's really tapped in? Do you think that that experience led to what people may call your superpowers of being able to tap in to source like that? Because people are wondering, do they need a serious brain rewiring to get to the level you're on, or could it just happen naturally? So yeah.
It can definitely happen naturally. However, there's nothing wrong with using tools. I'm hearing, I think Source used the word tools last time. Um,
Yeah.
because the programming is so strong, and
Mm,
we are experiencing ourselves as separate. And as long as you are experiencing yourself as being separate from source, it's very difficult to see the way that source sees or thinks in the way that source thinks.
mm,
So for me, this was the path that my high council of light chose, because I needed to be activated very quickly. So it's
mm,
not necessarily the root for every single person. You might
mm,
microdose with mushrooms and need that incremental sort of expansion. I actually recommend that for most people because it can be very disruptive to have um, a reality shattering experience and come back from that. Typically, your soul's your as a soul, you will be very mastered to be able to handle that type of experience. So there's not a one size fits all approach. There are also
mm,
so many different plant medicine alternatives that I'm discovering every single day. I mean, there's San
mm.
Pedro, there's kava, which is a great alcohol alternative that's come into my
Ooh,
field recently. I highly recommend
some kava.
kava, and just search for your local
Mhm.
kava bar. Didn't even know this was a thing. And now I hang out at kava bar. That's my 5D nightlife at the moment.
Yeah.
So yeah,
What
all
they got
these
those in
different
New York? They
they
got those in New
do.
York? Huh?
They
Wow.
do. They do. They have some kava bars. So these are just tools, but they're not like a necessity. Maybe you just need to meditate. Maybe you need to change your
Mm,
diet and exercise, and that's going to help give you some type of breakthrough that you need. But I don't promote drugs or promote things.
mm.
I just simply say maybe it's meant to be on your path and maybe it's not.
Mhm. You know, people say that solar flares are outbursts of information that have been laden in the sun for eons upon eons. So we're talking about ascension. How important is the solar flares to ascension? Because a lot of people talk about Jesus Christ returning, and they associate Jesus with the sun. Solar flares come from the sun. So is this that Christ consciousness or the Jesus returning that people have been waiting for? That's coming with the information to save us.
So the galaxy itself has a soul, and the
Mhm,
galaxy itself has its own intention to expand. So
mhm,
what happens is, as you start to ascend into higher levels of consciousness, you will start to see everything as spirit, everything as consciousness, right? So the
mhm,
galaxy itself will trigger these cosmic occurrences to usher certain light, aka encoded information, to different places, spots in the galaxy. So
mhm.
yes, that is what these solar flares are. They are also activations for your diamond light body, because
Ooh.
as you continue to ascend through different layers of consciousness, aka light, you have to become lighter. It's you
Right,
yourself,
right.
you are energy. So the matter, if we were to look at this on a subatomic level, all of the particles are speeding up, and they're speeding up and they're speeding up and they're speeding up because they are essentially trying to vibrate at the speed of light. And so you need these flares to support that expansion, to break up the density, is how I'm seeing this in my third eye. Like matter, it's solid, it's dense. So you need a very high frequency charge to dismantle that energy and break it up, aka us as a reality of collective reality experience, ascending, shifting, becoming lighter, literally becoming light,
Mm,
vibrating at the
wow.
speed of light.
Indeed. I just did a show with Billy Carson. I don't know if you ever heard of the brother. We did a show like last week, and we had a live Q&A with the people. And this white dude called up, and he was like, when he was taking like DMT and things like that, like the experience he was having when he took those, he just kind of it made him want to check out of life. And I
Mhm.
was like, after the show, I was kind of like, damn, I kind of relate to what he was saying in a sense. I remember when I first got knowledge of self, it made me want to check out of life, like, and just mentally at least, not everything, but just mentally check out, because you're so much into this information that you kind of neglect all the human physical activities going on in this world. So I'm just curious, like, do you think that's something that happens to everybody? Has it happened to you? Just wanting to like check out of life, you think, or is that something that varies from individual to individual?
So after having many intense initiations, activations, um, my guidance team always made it clear to me, you are here to be human. You are here to experience everything that being human comes with. So you need to stay grounded. And so, my advice to anyone who's exploring certain tools and modalities, and you're coming into self realization, self awareness, you're recognizing that there's so much more
Mm,
beyond what you thought was truth. You need to balance that with still being grounded here in a physical
mm,
experience. This is
mm,
where I see a lot of people being very just like not practical in their life. Um,
mm,
you're not going to ascend out of here like 2 weeks from now or even 10 years from now. What we're talking about is going to be a gradual process over 30 plus years. Yeah, 30 plus
right.
years is what I'm saying. Uh, More so, yeah, between 30 and 50. So people are approaching their everyday human life like they just want to disregard it and check out. Now, what happens is this is really why these
Mm,
experiences, plant medicine experiences or psychedelic experiences, aren't the end all be all answer that's going to fix everything in your life, because you need to have experiential wisdom. You can
mm,
have this crazy DMT, LSD experience, but guess what? When you wake up tomorrow, and it's
mm.
the first and the rent is due, are you going to be able to cope with that? So,
Woo.
you have to stay grounded. You have to be practical, and first and foremost is you have to learn how to love being alive, because that's truly the gift. If you're trying to escape because you've experienced something on DMT and LSD that you feel is better than what you've created here, you haven't really mastered the game. True mastery of the game is within any dimensional plane of existence, knowing that I am source, knowing that I am creator, I can find joy, happiness, and fulfillment. So I would encourage people to make the most of your time here. Have a good time because everybody's laughing up here and they're saying, when you die, you're going to go, oh my gosh, there's nothing else to do. Why did I rush through that? Like it made no sense. Your
Oh
soul
shit.
already knows everything. So stop trying to figure
Wow.
it out. Leave here. And one more thing I'll say on specifically pertaining to star seeds, who sometimes can struggle with being here. You are literally here to bring heaven down to earth, to bring higher
Mm,
dimensional ways of being here. So stop
mm.
trying to go home because you're here to bring home
Ooh.
and make it fun and
Ooh.
show humans, you know, how
Ooh.
to live and be. So a lot of the times when I hang out with people, they're like surprised how much of a party person I am. But like I'm having fun. Like I'm doing my work, but I'm having fun. So just have fun.
Wow. Okay. Wow. What a show, family. What a show. We about to reach the half an hour mark. We're gonna keep it going. We'll take a brief Q&A at the end. But once again, I'm live now with Erin Lyons. She was here before. She channeled Source directly. Magnificent spiritually, sister. I want you to make sure you support. Hit that like button. That's very important. Let's keep it going, family. What I want to ask you now is you mentioned love, and we, being in the spiritual community, love is probably the biggest word in the spiritual community that we hear in terms of ascension, in terms of anything. Love is the answer to anything. So we always say about love. But then we there's concepts such as, let me say it like, so they say follow your gut feeling. When you want to make a decision, like say you're moving and you want to make a decision, they say, Erin, follow your gut feeling. So that gut feeling has a certain level of love in it. So that's your stomach right there. My question is, Erin, there's people, like, let's say, like, I'm a dad. I became a dad 4 years ago. When you become a dad, you get something, they call it a dad bod, and your stomach gets bigger because you start eating, you're happy, and you just relax. My question to you is, what's the connection between love and the gut? Because we see Buddha with the big belly, and we notice that when
Mhm.
people are happy, they kind of fall back on I'm gonna be the big most, I'm gonna be the most in shape person in the world, and they just kind of let loose. So we're taught that big stomachs are bad, but is there any type of connection with love and having a big stomach? And you laughing? I can't wait to hear this answer. Can't wait to hear this answer.
Well, this is so funny because
Yeah.
even for me doing COVID, I gained like 15 pounds like I was like, whoa, wow.
Yeah.
And my guide started calling it abundance weight. When
Wow, abundance. Whoa,
you're
that's a new
just
one.
abundance
Whoa.
weight, like when you're at peace and you're chilling, everything is good, and you're relaxing, and you're not stressed, and there's less physical activity, and you're eating good, and these different things. So
Yeah.
nothing wrong with a little abundance weight, but they are they are referencing balance. And so Source told me straight up about 2 years ago, maybe a year and a half ago. Source was like, hey, you need to get in the gym regularly because you need
Mm,
to tend to your fourfold being. Meaning a lot of people, when they start to become more esoteric or spiritual, they're in the head, they're up here. And that's
mm,
something that I tend to do. You're always here, you're learning, you're expanding, you're experiencing more abundance, but we have to treat our physical body with the same level of respect that we do our other the other aspects of our beingness.
mm.
So there is a correlation between weight and abundance, but you want to definitely monitor that, and you want to treat your physical body with respect. And your body itself, it's a spirit, it's an energy. Every organ in your body is its own spirit. So sometimes I even channel different organs in my body. Like, this is how I healed my womb for good after coming off of birth control and all these crazy matrix things. And I
Mhm.
connected with the spirit of my womb, became friends with her, talked to her, hang out with her. I know that sounds
Mm.
insane, but she healed. So your body itself, really see it, treat it as a, a physical expression of your soul's energy.
That's very something that I think a lot of women can get help from in terms of you saying you healed your womb and you talking to your womb. I don't know how
Yeah.
deep you want to go into that, but is this like something like just like how me and you are talking? Is this something
Mhm.
like you talk to your womb like that? Like, is that how that works?
Yes.
Okay.
Um, I would encourage people, and also I'm being guided to share. Everybody has a womb. Men, you have your etheric womb chakra. For women who have had hysterectomies and whatever the case may be, your womb, it is an etheric chakra energy that's always connected to you. Everyone should be connecting to their womb, because that is divine mother. That is
Mm,
universal heart void energy. That is raw prime cosmic force. Everyone should be connecting to that force and just simply talk to it. It's very simple. I have a couple of healer friends who needed to quit smoking cigarettes once their spiritual
mm,
mission activated, and they had to
mm.
talk to their lungs. Lungs, I'm
Ooh.
so sorry that I was doing, engaging in this activity. This is why I was doing this. Really talk to it, and it starts to
Mm,
heal. So now, this might be TMI, but like, my menstrual cycles are painless, and they only last for a couple of days, which is the original way that they should have been. Everything else, pain and all this other stuff, um, is just because of womb trauma that's stored. The frequency is off. So anything you want to heal in your body, anybody, treat it and talk to it like a consciousness. All of the cells in your body are consciousness. They are continuously listening to you. The things that you say to yourself, the way you feel about yourself, your cells are taking that information and absorbing it as a program that then becomes the basis for your overall vibrational frequency.
yeah, I swear. I swear. I got this synthesizer. I do music and it just turned on out of nowhere and it's like making a bass sound. Give me 1 second, family. I swear.
It's okay.
All right, that was interesting. It just turned on. It's a synthesizer and it's plugged in. I keep it plugged in and it just turned on out of nowhere. Wow. Okay. Guess
So
the energy.
you have
Go
some beings with you right now, watching you host this conversation.
Uh.
I'm like, try to be more quiet.
Wow. Okay. All right. Let's talk about let's examine, Erin, the concept of as above, so below. And we hear it played out in ancient times, but I like to use modern comparisons so people understand that concept a little more. So they say, as above, so below, as within, so without. If you grew up in this country, in this world, and you come from the West Indian culture, the Caribbean culture, they engage in something called, as far as their diet is concerned, they drink something called bitters to clean them out and to make sure they're healthy and to make sure they're vibrant and they're alive. They know a lot about bitters in that culture. They say in a wider culture, they say that truth is bitter. So what I want to ask you is that when we're learning, the same way we ingest something bitter to make our body better and to make our body more healthy, do we have to ingest spiritually bitter truths to spiritually become better? Because we're looking for something sweet like honey. So we're like, oh, we're honey. We call our wife honey. Where's honey? Where's honey at? But do we need to look for bitter truths in order to ascend, just like we drink bitters in order to make our body more healthy?
I have Ascended Master Yeshua stepping in. He wants to answer this. And what he's saying is, what he's saying is the bitterness lies in the perception. When you are in alignment with the highest frequency, the highest perception, it is sweet. The bitterness is always coming from a distortion. So there may be a truth that you're not willing to accept. So it tastes a little bitter. It doesn't settle quite right, but it's usually always because you have an ego attachment, or you have an underlying belief that is not in higher harmonic resonance with the absolute truth and the way that source energy, creator consciousness, is looking at the same topic. So if it feels bitter, you're out of alignment. That's okay. We want to start this is where a lot of shadow integration comes into play. You want to start being deeply compassionate with yourself as these triggers and these things come up, and just simply recognize, this stings a little bit. Why do I feel this way? And you can simply ask source, what's your perspective? Source's perspective is always, always, always going to be rooted in unconditional love. And so that's where you want to start to look to see where your attachment is. I could give an example of that. He wants to use an example.
Please.
Okay. This is very interesting. He's giving me the example of relationships. And let's say someone cheats on you. I'm pretty sure people are going through that right now. Very relatable. Someone cheats on you. And so that truth, perhaps that they found connection with another person, or they, for whatever reason, needed to have this experience with this other person that really hurt you, that really cut you deeply. When you are vibrating in this truth of unconditional love, meaning whatever someone else chooses to do never takes away from your validity, from the fact that you are love itself, that you are valued, that you are worthy, all of those types of things, that truth is going to sit with you differently. This is what this ascension into the fifth dimension is all about. It's when you are operating in this higher consciousness, the way you perceive things are totally different than what your matrix ego self has been taught, how it has been taught to view these things. So that was like a really practical example.
So, on a human level, we perceive life to be like almost like a prison sentence, and we consider it to be like a punishment. Yeah. So would you say our higher self doesn't look at it that way? It looks at it totally different?
Something I always say is your experience within the Earth game simulation gets to be a prison or gets to be a playground. The more you activate your creator consciousness, your source consciousness, this inner joy, this inner excitement, this inner passion to just be here will become predominant in your vibration. If it feels like a prison right now, it's typically because you are working through some karmic patterns that are keeping you bound in lower density, in the lower three chakras, which typically have to do with survival, karma, ancestral things that, when you start expanding into the higher chakras, your higher self, That's you being here, grounded in the physical while being connected to your through your crown, and you're just here creating and you're having a great time and it's fun and you're happy to be here, and life becomes a gift. That's
Mm,
where everybody is moving towards. That's ultimately
mm.
how you want to feel in your body here on earth.
Do you think, Erin, the more spiritual you are, the less you experience karma? Meaning, I could do the same shit you do and not experience the punishment you experience because I'm on a higher level than you.
Everyone has their own karmic balance, we'll call it. I'm sort of seeing the Akashic records right now, right? The
Mm,
karma that you're experiencing in your now timeline reality, where your consciousness is focused,
mm,
is not just from this lifetime, it's from other lifetimes. So sometimes we'll see
mm,
people and they're living this great life, and we think they must have good karma. And there is a such thing as positive karma catching up to them in this lifetime. So
mm,
someone
mm,
else could be a younger soul and they have bigger karmic imbalances and debts and things that they're paying off, and paying off is not like because it's a punishment, but their own soul is wanting to balance out their karma. So they're going to have a rougher ride. Now, it doesn't mean that at some point that karma cannot be neutralized, but I will say it takes a lot of dedication. So a lot of
mm,
people listening to this are in the middle of karmic cycles that they've chosen and signed up to inherit from their lineage so that those cycles can end with them. I'm one of those
mm,
people who signed up
mm,
to neutralize ancestral karma. So in the beginning of my spiritual awakening, no matter how much information I was receiving or was downloading, it's like the same shit. Sorry, the same things over and over and over again, over and over and over again. Oh, like all these things. You're like, why am I still going through this? A lot of people can
mm,
relate to that with money. It's like, why am I still experiencing this? It could be coming from your own past life. It could be coming from the ancestral stuff that you sort of decided to neutralize. So karma
mm,
is multidimensional.
mm. You talked about on your Instagram live. You talked about ascension and your higher self bringing your fears to the surface because you can't bring those fears with you to the next level or the higher dimensional template that we are now entering. So talk about our hidden fears and us, and how can we, I guess, I don't know if getting
Mm.
rid of them is the right word, but how can we get to the next level with or without our fears? Like, what do we have to do to get to the next level? Because we all have fears inside that we acquired from childhood. So how can we get to the next level knowing that we all have these fears within us?
The thing that you fear the most when you're walking an ascension path is always going to happen at some point. Maybe right
Mm,
now you fear losing a person, or you fear losing a job, or you fear something that that your ego perceives to be a threat to your safety, your comfort, and your security. And so
mm,
what happens is your higher self is going to orchestrate these moments where you have to lose something, you have to let something go, and that's meeting that fear head on. But what happens is as you release these attachments and you release these things, something profound happens. You recognize that the love, the abundance, the safety you were looking for always existed inside. So these different things are going to purge. Now, something that you can do to work through this is don't judge chaotic occurrences as bad or negative, because whatever you label something, it has to continue to be that thing because you are the
mm,
creator. So even when it's chaotic and you say, this is a gift, I don't know why yet. I don't know how. I don't know where this is leading me. I don't know where this is taking me, but this is a gift. It has to be a gift. It will then have to quite literally transform into being a gift, and you will
mm,
accelerate and you will shift through that lesson faster. Anytime I've made a major quantum leap, it was always disguised at first as a loss or a challenge or something painful or something chaotic.
mm,
The more mastered you become, what will actually happen is when things are chaotic, because the more aligned you become, it is more smooth sailing. So when things are chaotic, it really stands out to you and you're like, okay, we're doing another quantum leap, it's another gift, as opposed
mm,
to, oh my gosh, my life is falling apart, I'm so scared right now. It
mm,
just
mm,
takes practice how you choose
mm,
to respond and react to what's happening.
mm. I asked earlier about solar flares, Aaron. Do you think the sun that we experience now is the same as the sun that we humanity has experienced, let's say 100 years ago? Or do we have, because there's a lot of talks about two suns, a new sun, a different sun. Is this the same sun that we experienced 100, 200 years ago?
There are infinite suns because there are
Mm,
infinite timelines, and so the, as you are shifting through the quantum field, whatever
mm,
parallel version of Earth you are experiencing, you are also experiencing that parallel version of the sun. That so this is why, as we continue to accelerate into these higher frequency timelines, um, the sun will be the light that the sun is showering will be encoded with higher frequencies, different codes, different light codes, different holographic light blueprints that are interacting with your field. So you want to start recognizing you are simply shifting through time, and you're shifting through infinite parallel versions of Earth.
And I'm glad you mentioned the concept of parallel versions of Earth. This is a question that I can ask you because you tapped into that science. Now, once we get a hold of this information, the first thing people want to do is help people. My question to you is, because you know the concept of parallel universes, parallel infinite timelines, and multiverses and things of that nature, do you think that when we look at things on a bigger perspective, we can't help anybody? Like, we want to help people, but we can't help anybody. The only thing we could do is tune into the frequency of a version of you that is already helped, and align with that version of you. But we can't help a version of somebody who needs help. We can only tune into versions that are already what we may call helped, or on a certain level already.
Yeah, that's absolutely true. Everyone is walking their own path, and what we have to understand is that even if we're perceiving someone to be in a lower level of consciousness, right? They need all this help. Their own higher self is running that show and choosing to be in that level of consciousness and have those experiences. So it's actually not your job to step in and do anything. You'll get a feel for it. You will know when it's time to use your voice, or it's time to uh, present another path for someone, or share information. But it's actually not always required. Instead, you really want to start practicing. They're showing me, Yeshua is showing me, honoring every single journey, because you know that it all leads back to source. It's all gonna, no matter where they are, everyone's going home, so to speak. And when you hold that truth in your heart, you're not even uncomfortable with whatever level of consciousness people are in. Like, if I go back home, I go to Detroit and I'm around certain people, it doesn't bother me. In the beginning of my journey, it bothered me, because you want
Mm,
everybody to be woke. You think you need to wake everybody up. But
mm,
true mastery is, I accept myself unconditionally, and I also accept all of my other selves unconditionally, whatever level of consciousness they're experiencing. So, help is subjective, and it's about intuitively knowing what's needed in the moment. And even if somebody's in the frequency bandwidth to receive what you're telling them, like, don't
mm,
waste your time trying to wake people
mm,
up who are just, it's not in their soul plan right now, whatever phase
mm,
they're in, for them to have
mm.
that information.
Mhm. Do you think that we talked about the Galactic Federation meeting with governments? Do you think that there is a reptilian race that is controlling the governments, and that who the Galactic Federation is actually meeting up with is these reptilians that's controlling the government and letting them know, like, yo, y'all got a certain amount of time to do what y'all do? Like, is it all alien shit taking place that we don't know about, and we're just, like, behind the scenes thinking that it's the government, but it's all alien shit the higher you get?
Mhm. So earlier when we spoke about higher government, leaders, officials, etc.,
Yeah.
being at a lower consciousness, this is what we meant, that lower consciousness is being manipulated by beings who hold certain information and intelligence and know how to play on the weakness of lower consciousness beings. So the reptilians are just one race. There are a few of them who are sort of in cahoots, and what they actually do is they sort of go around the universe to different galaxies and they find planets and civilizations who are operating in levels of consciousness where they're going to be ruled by greed and ego and power, all these things, and then they manipulate them into partnership. So at first it happens on an unconscious level that these people are working with beings that they don't understand, don't have their best interest. But
Mhm.
then the more power people get, they just start to be okay with it. Like, hey, it is what it is. As long as my life on earth is set, I don't really care about the well being of the whole. So, this is what we call service to self. You have beings on the light side who are um, following the universal law of one, and then you have service to self beings who there's like a whole distortion template with them, but they don't serve the all. They serve their own agenda. So they go to places like Earth where they know they can get away with certain things and take
Mhm.
advantage of the masses of that planet.
We talk about the sun's role in our ascension, and we talked about solar flares earlier. What do you think the role the moon plays with entities such as the Galactic Federation of Light? Like, what's their perspective on the moon? We hear about the sun, but what about the moon?
So originally there were two or more, from what I can see, two moons um, for Earth. One, the moon that is in our perceptual field, was used as a base for a very long time by lower agenda beings.
Hmm.
At this time, for a while now, um, it's been recovered by certain galactic beings. So the moon itself is a spirit, is a consciousness, as all things are. And so uh, it plays its role. They're showing me how it impacts the tides and connects with the the harmonic rhythm of the oceans and waves and different things like that. So ultimately, I'm not really huge into astrology. It just hasn't been my thing. But ultimately, what they're showing me is you can connect to any spirit, any soul of anything, and receive information. So maybe there's going to be a certain moon cycle or phase or period. You can consciously connect to the moon and you say, hey, during this period of time, and how planetary grid lines and energy are going to shift based on this certain moon cycle, what are some of the things I should be doing right now? And this is why we have all of our astrologers who share that information with us and can help us get clear on how to leverage these portals or windows of opportunity given where certain placements are.
Mhm. Do you think, we're ascending and our consciousness is expanding? Do you think with the expansion of consciousness, that's why we're hearing things about become with the expansion of consciousness becomes the expansion of land, meaning now we're hearing that there might be land beyond the seven continents. So every time our consciousness expands, because we're infinite beings, we're always going to live in a bigger and a bigger and a bigger and a bigger world. The larger our consciousness gets, do they coincide with each other? Our consciousness and how big our world is.
Yes, it's all based on where the collective frequency is. And so as that frequency is expanding, all of the higher selves say, okay, now they can know this because
Mm,
the human
mm,
history that we are taught or that has been given is only but a piece. There has been life and many different empires have risen and fallen on this planet for over they're giving me 20 million years. Okay.
Whew,
So
20 milli.
if
Woo.
we only have certain information that goes,
Yeah.
back a certain amount of time,
Wow.
can you imagine how much is missing? How much is that we can't even fathom? So what happens is you have these surges in consciousness. So when there's like a surge in the collective frequency and consciousness for whatever reason, we all collectively shift to a timeline where that information becomes available or presents itself or is revealed. So this is going to continue to happen. They're calling this, it's more so a remembrance of what always was, as opposed
Mm,
to a discovery of something new. It's all
mm,
actually old. It's all
right.
been here.
Been here. Right. Wow. Very interesting. We are approaching the hour mark now, Erin.
Okay.
So I want to get to a quick Q&A from the people, take a couple of
Let's see.
questions from the people in the, in the chat room. But before we do, Erin, please tell them about the services you offer. I know you offer magnificent services that people could benefit from. So tell them exactly what kind of services, your website, what can they get from you?
So my one-on-one quantum healing and channeling sessions are open in the summer. I am cutting down some availability, so I would definitely take advantage of that now.
Mm,
I also offer Manifestation Mystery School, aka Manifest X Microdose, where every week I deliver a manifestation training, and we also work with plant medicine together. So there's that. And then Priestess Portal, which is my psychic development and quantum healing certification for all of my divine feminine priestesses who are here to do this exact thing that I'm doing. So as of now, those are the three main things. But I have something really fun and interesting that dropped into my awareness that's coming soon. And it's actually a divine masculine mystery school. And I told these people, I said, I can't start a divine masculine mystery school. And they said, yes, you can. So all the masculines who are going to be helping me run it are coming into play. So I'm excited about that too. So stay tuned.
Yeah, I advise everybody to be on the lookout for that. And King Simon, is that your website, ErinLyonsOfficial.com? I got it on the
Yes.
bottom of the screen. That's it. Okay, so yeah, check out her website, ErinLyonsOfficial.com. And yeah, man, you got some great stuff. And I definitely advise everybody to tap into some of your services. Now, I want to ask you one question before I get to the questions from the people. You mentioned your divine feminine school that you're doing and assisting the divine feminine energy with tapping into their psychic ability. The question I have for you, Erin, is I've been into this information for quite some time, and I've dealt with a lot of sisters who were psychic, great at being psychics. I mean, they were tapped in, and they've
Mhm.
always had the majority of them, 85% or better, of them have always had problems with men in their lives. So, what I want to ask is, how is the divine feminine so psychic with a lot of things, but they ain't psychic when it comes to picking a mate or picking a man or being with their mate? They seem to fall short when it comes to that, but they seem to be amazing at everything else. Why do you think that is? You
Uh,
laughing?
wow, way to just be real.
Okay,
So
sorry.
the roles on this planet have been reversed. And so in the higher dimensions, women actually pretty much feminines rule and make decisions, and masculines carry out the task. So
Right.
I mean, there are certain higher celestial courts, galactic courts, that are purely solely ran by the divine feminine. So the divine mother Sophia Christ consciousness energy, that is the true leadership. When we look at this planet, you don't see that. And that has
Mm,
all happened on purpose. It's been a part of the darker agenda to throw this planet
mm,
out of balance. So that's why the masculines have been in power, and no offense, but when we look around, we see what that's done. So
mm,
yes, having this intuitive power, having this very natural ability to connect, is something that the feminine possesses, but it's typically filtered through wounded feminine energy and false light blueprints that have been
mm,
encoded by the the dark agenda. I'll just call it the dark agenda. And women, they're wanting me to speak to you specifically right now. Your
Mm,
greatest superpower is your heart. And
mm,
so the this attack on the feminine started with getting her to shut her heart down, getting her to be more masculine, getting her to be afraid of love. And so all of this energy will continue to manifest in the form of reflections or partners that don't serve your highest good. But they're just reflecting you. They're reflecting back
mm,
what how you see yourself. So you really want to start to work on who you believe yourself to be. So the divine feminine ascension is
mm,
really a huge part of the collective ascension. And
mm.
everybody has masculine and feminine energy. So even for men, you want to be working to nurture and activate your own feminine energy, understanding the feminine energy inside of yourself.
Mhm. Quick question, Erin. Do you think the divine feminine was never designed to engage in a whole 9 to 5 thing? Because it's very stressful on the body, on the mind. Do you think the divine feminine that's like was not meant for the divine feminine?
It's a part of the earth school for a reason,
Mhm, mhm,
but within the natural higher order of things, women and men or feminines and masculines have different roles,
mhm,
and strenuous hard work, effort, energy, that type of thing is not in harmonic resonance with the pure divine feminine energy. However, because we all have masculine and feminine energies,
mhm,
it can be advantageous to learn how to use your masculine energy. Like, I love my masculine energy, it helps me do a lot of things. But
mhm,
ultimately, as a feminine expressed being at the moment,
mhm,
there are just certain things that are not in resonance with my archetype as a woman.
mhm,
So
mhm, mhm,
the 9 to 5 thing, depending on what you're doing, it has thrown the feminine energy out of balance.
mhm,
100%. Yes.
mhm, mhm. Okay. All right, let's get to some questions from the people. I mean, wow, what a show, Erin. What a show. Our first show was like legendary, Erin. It was legendary. And this one, just as good. Like I'm like, yeah, we've been hitting them out the park with these shows. So I definitely
Yeah,
thank you for
this was
coming on the
good.
channel.
Thank you for
And
having me. Thank you. This was
yeah,
amazing.
definitely. Family, give Erin some questions. We're gonna take a few questions. We passed the hour mark. We're gonna take a few questions before we get out of here. But wow, what a show! I took a couple of notes, family. I tell this to my guests all the time, Erin. I like when I do shows and I have more energy after the show than I had before the show. And this is one of them shows. So I just
Thank
absolutely love the
you.
information you came with.
Amazing. Thank you.
Let's. All right, what's this question about? Mm. How do we overcome direct energy weapons and psychic weapons to reach our full spiritual potential? These energies interfere with our ascension. How do we break free of it?
So, you might not like this answer because it's basic, but it is the most powerful. It is the highest technology, and it's simply love.
Mm,
Okay, this, we have to go through this. How these lower vibrational dark agenda beings operate is that they want to irritate you into a state of fight, into a state of pushing against. So when you say, well, they're trying to psychically attack me, or they're trying to, come with all these weapons, and you're in this frenzy, okay, they're throwing you out of your I am power, out of your center. And so you want
mm,
to actually center in the frequency of love. I love all beings, no matter which level they whatever level of consciousness they're in. And then Yeshua is coming in and he's talking about, this is why no weapons formed against you shall prosper. Because when you're in a state of unconditional love, it's like everything just bounces off of you. You are not feeding into the illusion that there is something outside of you that can infiltrate you. So I would
mm,
start there. I would look at
mm,
the belief. I truly believe that I can be infiltrated. Why do I believe that? Because if I can be infiltrated and that means I have no power, then that am I source? Am I an extension of source? Start questioning these things. Really question them. one more thing on this. This is why Hollywood, with certain movies and like these scary movies and things, they want you to believe that dark means more powerful or that evil means more powerful. But it actually doesn't. Light is always more powerful. So start shifting your beliefs around what you think um, evil actually is and how it relates to you in your life.
Okay, let's get to the next question. Erin, how did you evolve into the knowledge of knowing your powers and purpose?
Chaos, like we talked
Just talk.
about today.
Yeah, yeah.
Chaos, back to back, and I mean back to
Back,
back
back.
tests,
Wow.
challenges, everything you could possibly imagine, lack, uh, family karma, narcissist, all types of things.
Mm,
The challenges themselves is what reawakens the wisdom that you already hold as a soul.
mm, deep. Say that again. The challenges itself reawaken the what?
The knowledge, the wisdom that you already
You
hold
already
as a soul. Yes.
deep. All right. What an answer. The next one is any chance for higher ascension?
This one is coming through because for most people, their core challenge is actually that they don't trust source. They don't trust God's source because of religious programming, fear God, all of these things, believing this energy to be separate, but it actually is you. And because it is you, it loves you unconditionally and wants to support you unconditionally. So, source wants to provide this sort of mantra to help you truly start believing that source only has your best and highest interest. Um, Source, you can say source or God, whichever you prefer. I'll just use God in this context. God loves me always. God loves me always. Doesn't matter what you're experiencing. You just tell yourself, God loves me always. And because that love is always, it is never ending, that means that you are being supported. Even in your darkest moment, you are being supported.
Mm, deep. God loves me always. I hope y'all got that one right there. All right. Next question. Will the Galactic Federation allow nuclear war on this planet?
No. They were just like straight to the point. They said no. There are Interesting. So there are timelines that we would call the past, that this is happening, already happened. And some of the souls here, they're bringing up Atlantis right now. Some of the souls here who have seen these different wars with technology and nuclear type things happen are actually here from the past and the future to prevent that from happening. But at this point, Earth is very, very safeguarded, and those timelines are very, very improbable. Very, very improbable that as a collective we will experience those timelines again. But like I said, past and future, these timelines are always shifting and changing. So, I met a friend from the future recently in Mount Shasta, a quantum timeline traveler from the future to give specific information that I needed. And so things are very safeguarded. I'll just put it that way. Things are very, very safeguarded at this point,
Okay.
for the
Let's
most part.
all right. Well, I'm sorry. There's some super chat. I'll be missing the super chat questions. Let me get to some of the super chat questions, y'all, because these are the people who are supporting. I gotta scroll. I'll be missing them sometime. I apologize if you sent the super chat and I missed your question, but I'm gonna get to one right now. Erin, can you speak on children and adolescents and why they begin to act out and become rebellious? Are these comic
Mm.
children? Wow, good question. Wow, are these comic children? Wow,
Karmic children.
God damn.
No. Um,
Wow. Like,
no.
damn. Whoa.
What's actually happening is that they are pissed that they're here. They are upset
Mm,
because they can energetically feel that something's off, right? They just got back from the other side, from what we call heaven. They just got back from source. So they're here and it's all out of balance. And then you got these adults who don't know anything in lower levels of consciousness trying to tell you things. They're just upset. And
Mhm.
Think about any of us when you were a teen. Everything just annoyed you, right? Truly,
Mhm.
because all of these systems and ideologies and things that were put on you were out of alignment, were out of
Mm,
resonance with the true frequency blueprint of your soul. So they're
mm,
not karmic, they aren't bad. They actually have the answers if we would start listening.
mm. Okay. Let's get to the next super chat question. Thank you to Ann Nuke M. Why is Earth the location service to self beings that think they could get away with evil? Wow.
So Earth is just one of many, 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 many planets that this type of unfolding has happened on. It's not the only planet. And so
Okay.
these beings who have this sort of agenda, like I said, they prey on lower consciousness civilizations, which is why the Galactic Federation, because so it's okay. It's not necessarily that darkness, low vibrational evilness is bad. When you're in the higher dimensional field of light, everything, you're operating in neutrality. It's more so that the Galactic Federation has the purpose of balancing light and dark energy
Mm,
in the universe.
okay.
Both are needed, both exist within the I amness of source. However, when there's a planet like Earth that is so skewed towards the darkness and out of balance, then um this rule for non-interference is sort of no longer as important, and then they can step in. So nonetheless, these beings are preying on lower level consciousness to get away with certain things. But this is why we're pushing into 5D, because when a civilization reaches 5D, they're no longer in the frequency range to co-create with these types of beings.
Hmm. Okay, let's get to the next question. I feel as if I am an earth angel or some divine being so alone in this wicked world. How can I be a positive force to protect self and those in need and switch timelines to avoid the pain of evil here?
So the first thing there is we need to take a look at this word wicked.
Hmm.
If you are perceiving the reality that you're experiencing to be wicked, then the reality, it doesn't have a mind of its own. It's going to show you that, because as a creator, you project consciousness from your being, you generate it. So when I say
Right.
this is a wicked world, I experience the parallel version of Earth, myself, in reality that is wicked. When I
Hmm.
say life is beautiful and it's amazing, okay, that is the frequency that allows you to tap into the parallel fifth dimensional version of Earth. So I always say this: we're not all experiencing the same version of Earth. If you are more aware of evil than you are good, okay, you have to look at yourself. Where are you focusing? Why are these things in your field? Why are these things in your perceptual range? So for this individual, I challenge you to find as many beautiful things possible, and your
Hmm.
reality will become beautiful and you will avoid this pain that you're talking
Mm,
about.
mm, indeed. Let's get to the next question. So, throughout the years, I've noticed the numbers 143 appear until this day. Then I found out recently my life path number is 13-4. Any thoughts?
I don't understand the 13 there for the life path. Nonetheless, signs and synchronicities. They're not wanting to spend too much time on individual things right now. But signs and synchronicities, they're saying whatever it means to you, whatever you think it means is what it means.
Mhm.
I know that's so vague, but
Yeah,
whatever you
yeah.
think it means is what it means. And more so, okay, one more thing on this. More so, these types of things will appear to get you to begin trusting yourself. It's like the
Mm,
beginning of intuitive power opening or
right.
activating. At first, the universe is going to communicate with you in patterns and synchronicities and recurring sequences. That's just opening you up more. So what they're saying is, if you see the 143 or these different variations of this number sequence, you want to acknowledge it, and you want to say, I'm activating, right? It's kind of like they're giving me, it can be, you can use it as your code, like your activation code.
Mhm. We have so many numbers, Aaron, and one of the most popular number frequencies that we hear about in the spiritual community is the 111 or the 1111. What is it about the number one? We got numbers from 1 to 9. What is it about this 111 that makes it the most popular number sequence around the world where people see in numbers?
So what they're showing me is this, and this looks like
Uh-huh.
what? A door, a gateway, a portal.
Uh-huh.
It's
Ooh.
a master number. It's a portal.
Ooh.
So whenever you're seeing 1 1, or these sequences of ones, and one, you know in coding, computer science, zeros and ones are the coding for any program. So they're saying that energy holds the frequency blueprint for creation itself. It's like, it is the matrix coding, zeros and ones. So when you're seeing these ones, you want to see them as portals, doors, and gateways into a higher parallel version of your life, or even the moment that you're experiencing. You go, let's say you look at the clock, you see 11:11, you go, portal moment. Where's my energy? What am I thinking about right now? Let me shift
Mm.
into something higher, beautiful, more powerful. Don't just go, oh my gosh, 11:11. They're like, start using it, start using these things as like these activation codes, or that's what they're calling them, activation codes.
It's very interesting that you referred to the one you did this as a portal. I guess my question to you would be is that we hear about mudras and we hear about sacred geometry and how important that is in spirituality and religion. When they're praying or when they're worshiping, we see a lot of people put their hands up like this and they're praying
Mhm.
and they're worshiping. It's sort of like the portal, the one and the one, the portal.
Yeah,
When we see
yeah.
people, when we seen the police killings happen, a lot of people was doing the sign, hands up, don't shoot, and they hand their hands up. So my question to
Mhm.
you would be, maybe that's all giving power to the police by doing that. My question to you is this a sacred geometrical figure or pose we should make when we're trying to contact our higher self, because it's opening a portal to a higher self? So the same way the people in religion is like this, the same way the people are like hands up and don't shoot, and we see what happened with that. Is that the same way we're supposed to do with a higher self? We're supposed to put a hand up like that because it opens up a portal between us and our higher self?
They're showing me how the energy flows
Mm,
when the hands are like this. There's something about, okay, I'm feeling heat in my palms now. So something about the palms being open
mm,
creates, let's say you're doing this in praise, and palms are like this, and you feel this reverence, this gratitude, this whatever, this praise energy moving through you. You can
mm,
receive codes and energy through the hands.
mm,
um in the other context of, hands up, don't shoot, you could put a reverse spin on this, and you can simply say, I am receiving divine protection through my
mm,
palm chakras, my palm. These are portals, so you can use it as that way, um as opposed to like this defensive energy, or like this really, it's a surrender in both cases. That was good. Okay. It's a surrender
mm,
in both cases. If you're in
mm,
praise, you're like, I'm surrendering to whoever. And like, if you're trying to put your hands up, you're like, I'm surrendering, like, don't shoot me. So it really has to do with this surrender frequency. And in surrender, you actually receive.
mm.
So this is why we are energetically translating surrender into this openness, this receptivity. So interestingly, they're showing me, start practicing this in your life, to surrender. When you recognize that you're trying to struggle and strive and figure something out, and the ego is just going in circles, you go, source already figured it out. You could literally just do this, they're showing me. and then
And
maybe the palms start to tingle. My palms are tingling, so I feel like that could be a thing for people.
the people in the chat, they was just adding on. They said that's a symbol. It's on the walls. The symbol's on the ancient walls in Kemet,
Mhm.
and it represents the Ka. So yeah, that symbol has been around for thousands and thousands of years. So there's
Yeah,
definitely some power
wow,
there, man. Yeah,
absolutely.
definitely.
Everything is connected. Everything is
Yeah,
connected.
yeah, definitely. Let's get to one more question from the family. Wow, what a show, Aaron. What a show. We did it again, just as good as the first one. Wow. Let's
No, this is good. This is so aligned. Love it.
let's uh hold on. I want to get to a good one. Let me All right, let me just say, well, let me get to a super chat question. All right. Should or how can we bypass religious spiritual leaders and connect to source through self? I'm
Mm,
bothered by increasing monetary expectations to learn how to ascend. Is it simply meditation, self-love? A lot of people struggle
mm,
with money being involved with spirituality. I
mhm.
think black people more than anybody.
Yeah.
And where the church, we have bad memories and bad a bad taste in our mouth of the church and passing the plate around. So let's talk about ascension, spiritual leaders, and money being involved in the process, Erin.
Oh man. Yeshua, Jesus is stepping in for
Oh,
this one. It's so funny.
Jesus. Oh,
He was dropping me some
whoa.
money codes last
Yeah.
week. He has many different names for different reasons, but
Yes.
nonetheless, he's back and he's saying that um anytime you have a resistance towards money, which is really just a tool that represents an energetic exchange, it's always rooted in a belief in lack.
Mhm.
Meaning, if you truly operate in universal consciousness and you understand that everything is simply energy, everything is simply, yeah, just simply energy, then you don't have an issue with the energetic exchange. So when spiritual healers and teachers and guides, whomever have dedicated their lives to this path, it requires a lot of energy. It requires
Mm,
a lot of time. And furthermore, the information and the support that these individuals are providing is coming from all of their experiential lessons as well. Truly, you're benefiting from that. They're giving you typically a shortcut so you don't have to go through the same things. If you could become more, if you could hold more gratitude for that reflection, it's everything is yourself. So you're not giving away money to something out there. See it as, oh, I'm giving money to my reflection for showing up at the right time to support me with my ascension. Now, source is always available to you directly. Always, always, always. You want to start to do this through consciously connecting with the breath.
mhm.
Connect to source daily is what I'm seeing. Connect to self, to source and self daily, which is,
Mhm.
of course, meditation, but there's something really powerful when you focus on the breath. You're actually focusing on the spirit that is source, that is animating your vessel, that is animating
Mhm.
everything in your perceptual field. So, what I like to do is I feel into the emptiness around me, but I know that that emptiness is just source. That's why the air is the spirit molecule. It is the element that represents spirit or God. So
Mhm.
God is around you all the time, everywhere. This is why the atom is mostly empty space because it's
Mhm.
mostly God source's consciousness. So
Mhm.
connect to that unseen energy, connect to air, and that
Mhm.
keeps you close. Think about it. If I'm always breathing, that means source energy, spirit is always entering, nourishing me. So, you have that connectivity, and then that will start to unlock some different things I'm seeing. So, one, make peace with money, and
Mhm.
two, connect to source daily by yourself
Mhm.
on top of
Excellent.
using resources.
Excellent. Love the answer. Love the answer. Let me just ask one more question. This is a regular
Okay.
supporter on the channel. Another super chat question. How can more women tap into source daily, especially dream walkers? All right. Shout out to Ashe9 affirmations, magnificent sister there.
Your heart chakra. Your heart chakra is a quantum portal that
Mhm,
connects to the womb of the cosmic mother, and the divine feminine holds the unique archetype that allows you to more easily tap into that frequency. um it's always going to be love.
mhm,
You tap into source through embodying more love. Now, I think someone asked this earlier about the galactic perspective on love. What love actually is total acceptance.
mhm,
Again, this is where the shadow integration comes in. I can be experiencing grief, sadness, pain, fear, but if I accept it as a part of my experience of myself as source, that is what love actually is. So
mhm,
start practicing total acceptance of yourself, of your experiences, of your journey, and of everyone else, and then you match the frequency of source, and
mhm.
then that's also really great for manifestation too. But total acceptance of everything all the time.
Total total acceptance of everything all the time.
That is
Excellent.
what love is. That is truly what it is.
Indeed. With that being said, Erin, once again, absolutely
Thank you so
magnificent
much.
show. Absolutely magnificent. Tell the people once again how they could get in touch with you for your services, anything, workshops, classes that you have, all of that.
You can visit erinlyonsofficial.com. You can follow me on Instagram and TikTok, Erin Lyons Official. And all of the things are there and the website's here. So excited to connect with more of you in one-on-one sessions. That's really where I can tap into your own, energetic specifics, your own incarnational blueprint, and give you some more information pertaining to you and your journey and your path.
Mhm. When you do that, the one-on-one sessions, you probably really figure out how unique each soul is, huh? We must be all be so truly unique, huh?
I mean, that's one of the things that I love when I am running my sessions, like when they're open. It's
Mhm.
almost like I wake up in the morning and I'm like, I have no clue who I'm going to meet today. And
Right.
everybody is so different. Like, I could have a corporate person, I could have a celebrity type person, I could have a musician, I could have a school teacher. I've had strippers, I've had drug
Wow.
dealers. Like,
Wow. Wow. Yeah.
and I meet everybody with the exact same unconditional love, acceptance, and neutrality.
Mm. Wow, that's amazing. That is amazing. You went from strippers to drug dealers to teachers to wow. I mean, the whole gamut, everything. That's dope.
Everything.
Family, make sure y'all support this sister right here at www.erinlionsofficial.com. Make sure you
Yeah.
check out what she has to offer. I mean, every time I watch. Oh, what's your Instagram? Did you say same name, right? Erin
Yes.
Lions Official, right?
Erin Lyons
Okay.
Official. Yes.
All right, yeah. Make sure you check out stuff. Awesome information. If you want to tap into that abundance of frequency and gratitude, her stuff is the place to be. With that being said, magnificent show. Thank you to everybody who tapped in to the live to the chat. Thank you, King Simon, for holding down the chat. I truly appreciate that, King Simon, for supporting, and everybody else for watching. Make sure you share this live right here. With that being said, this is Brother Rich. Erin, thank you once again. And thank you
Thank
to
you
everybody.
guys. Thank you so much.
Indeed. This is Brother Rich signing out with Erin's Official. Peace, family.
Bye, guys. Much love.